What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about INFJs and the NITI loop. So NITI loop stands for introverted intuition and introverted thinking, and the loop of that. So every personality type has a loop of the first and the third function. And that's a kind of state that a lot of us do when we're not in a healthy state, right? And it's something that is not even something you would say is, in unhealthy state, but it's just something we naturally are drawn to. So if you're, for example, looking into socionics, you will read a little bit more about it. But the main point why this happens is because we have like this urge and this wish to go into our third function. It's just something what we lean towards. And this is not just INFJs, this is every personality type. So for example, for ENFJs, you will see that they have a natural, push towards extroverted sensing, which is their third function. For us, INFJs, it's the third function. It's introverted thinking, meaning finding a meaning in something, finding a system in something, understanding things. And it can be so detrimental. It can be so really keeping you stuck in a life situations because the only thing you want to do is to understand. I don't know how many years of my life I have really, I wouldn't say wasted because it's not really wasted, but I have concentrated on understanding certain things when in the end I had to realize I cannot understand it. I cannot understand it from my current standpoint, from the informations I have that are going on. I'm just not able to understand it. But I was so focused on needing to understand, as in I obsessed about it, that I couldn't let it go. And that's what the NITI loop is all about. So you kind of stay introverted, right? You take in information and then you try to find a system. You try to find meaning and you try to understand it. But the whole problem is that you are not taking in any new information. It keeps on going like this and you keep, trying to make sense of it, but you don't have any new information coming in so you could make a new, observation or a new conclusion. And it's like this thing, that Albert Einstein said, sanity or insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So this sounds so harsh, I believe, if you listen to it oh, so what does that mean? I'm stupid? No, everybody does that. Everybody, as I said, no matter what kind of personality type you are, we have this natural tendency to go into our third function. And if we're not careful and if we're not willing to, for example, through meditation or any kind of other practices or just actively changing our behavior, if we're not willing to do that, we'll always go in that direction, and that will just keep us stuck in life. And the thing is this, you can get out. You can really get out of this NITI loop because the whole problem with this is that it's hurting you. It's depleting you of your energy. I think about it in every single video now, but I'm gonna keep on doing that. The cup, your cup full of energy. If you keep on trying to understand a certain situation, it's like you put all your energy into one and the same thing, and the feedback you get is the same. So you keep pushing, and actually you don't get anything back because the understanding you already had that the first time you try to understand it, through the first time you build a system around your head, right? In your head. And you kind of feel well, what if I change that and that? No, you keep on getting the same result. So this is you depleting your cup of energy of more and more energy. And in the end, you have nothing left, right? You even especially for INFJs, this looks as I'm taking myself and putting myself in a cave, so to say. I'm removing myself from real life more and more and more because if you're an introvert, the not the NITI loop, that's for INFJs, but the dominant territory loop, which is, the first function, the third function, if you're an introvert, will keep you to be very, very introverted and very, isolated and, not letting go of this one thing. The solution to all of that is, of course, the second function. If you want to get out of the loop, you have to look into the second function. That's the whole solution to it, right? But before I go into it, just so you know, For extroverts who do that, they get maybe too aggressive or they need to like kind of always talk about what they think and, you know, try to convince other people, or, you know, be really aggressive about it. Like, you know, just extroverted, unhealthy behavior. See, there are a lot of personality disorders that you could, in a way, attribute to, let's say, introverts and extroverts, and, you know, like typical, you know, narcissistic tendencies is like something, most of the times, you can't, of course, you know, generalize in general, but like you can't really say it's always like this. But extroverts who get into the dominant terrier loop, they will maybe become more narcissistic, right? That's the way it comes out for them. For introverts, it might get into dependency or like real depression and all of those things, you know, the things that are actually not good for you in that moment. And the extroverts, it might be that you're actually pushing others away and you're being like not kind towards others. But in return, of course, that way you'll see you're not having connections with people. It's not good for you either. So in both cases, it's not healthy. But as I said, the solution to all of this is the second function, always. And the second function for INFJs is extroverted feeling. So how do you, first off, get out of the NITI loop by applying FE? And why is that even helpful? Like, how in the world is that going to solve your problem of trying to understand something? Like, you know, like for you, it's like it makes sense and it has to work. But, you know, the first thing is to realize, well, it doesn't work. Your system is flawed. And I don't mean it in a way of your system is flawed and mine is not. My system has been flawed. And my system is flawed very, very often. And I have just made it a point to realize that this is just part of growth. You know, everything I've done so far is based on a system I have built for myself, right? And you keep pushing the system until you get to a point where you say, I actually need to change my system. This has taken me so far, and I'm very, very grateful for all the information gathered and for everything that I understood so far. But if I want to get a step higher, I need to have new information. I need to have new feedback. I need to have new insight in order to be able to create a new system, because this system, I've taken everything out that I can. You know, I've created that much energy or that much joy or bliss or whatever it is through that system. So the first thing is to admit to ourselves, my system is flawed, always. There's always a way to make my system better. So it's not always about me understanding everything, but for me to let go of certain things that I felt they have to be, or to understand, like, I cannot understand this. Like, I tried. You can tell yourself, I'm not smart enough to understand it. It doesn't really hurt my ego. In general, like, because I know this has nothing to do with me being, you know, not smart or anything. I just say, that system, that's just how far my TI is developed. I just can't do it any more than this. And then you use your second function. So you express what you feel at that moment. You express what you know, and you express it to the outside world. How do you do that, right? How do you do that? The whole thing is to say, stop trying to understand and be. Express yourself. What do you know so far? What are you like? Let's say you're confident in knowing exactly that no matter who comes across, you will not change your opinion on certain things, because you know that for you, those things are so clear, but you don't want to share them with anybody. But the moment you say, well, I'm going to just express them. I'm going to express them because this is just something that I believe in. Like, once I do that, you kind of let go of trying to understand. You're being. And that's a different, like, you know, let's say you have an ISTP and an ENFJ. The ISTP is all about understanding and having their own system and doing everything in the way they find right. The ENFJ is all about, you know, connection. It's all about, you know, putting energy out, and, you know, the exact opposite. And so instead of us trying to be more like an ISTP, it's actually us trying to be an ENFJ that's going to get us out of it. It's going to get us out of this complete introverted thing. We're actually connecting more with other people. We're expressing ourselves. We're creating connection with people. And through that, we get feedback. Feedback, any kind of feedback. It doesn't have to be that somebody tells you, you're doing this right or you're doing this wrong. It's more about energetic feedback. It's about people giving back of, you know, like just having new information, just knowing more of, oh, actually people like this and that. And I don't need to understand that system. I'm just gonna look in the direction where I can, you know, get what I want and what I need. And it only happens through, expressing yourself. So let's say you're trying to find a system in something, and then you understand, okay, I cannot understand that person. What you can do is just express to that person who you really are at that moment. Because I'm sure if you think about it, you're keeping things to yourself. And I'm not talking about you keeping things from other people, like they don't know that I actually like to run. I'm talking about really things about your personality that you, for example, try to understand them by making yourself small, but actually you're stronger than that, and you're willing to let that person know, or that you have some kind of judgment towards that other person that you didn't want to share with them. The moment you express that, what you've been holding in, just letting that person know, listen, actually, this is my way of thinking and this is my way of living, you're going to get a feedback from that. You're going to see how people are going to react. And when you get feedback, and this is going to be something new, right? The moment you're actually expressing and not trying to understand, you're going to get new feedback you haven't had before. And that feedback, that's like what feeds your intuition. That's what feeds your NI. It really feeds it, so you have new insight. And then you can build a new system, right? And so the goal in this whole thing, or the solution to the whole thing, is to understand that this is like a cyclic thing, like, a cycle of always, expressing yourself, getting new information, then, making sense out of it. And then to keep repeating that. So, for example, when I grow, and I mean, you've seen in the last years how much I have made it a point to grow in that direction. This is what I do. I realize that I naturally, constantly have to express, so I understand where I am right now. I get new insight from that, and then I can build a new system. And then I express myself again, and then make judgment about it, like build a system through my third function, and then express myself again. And that's how you create this upward spiral that helps you to get a higher state, to reach more people, to have a better understanding, and a less and less flawed system. See, the system, especially for us INFJs, is very subjective. TI is a subjective thing. So I'm trying to find a system that helps me to live the best life possible. That's my system, right? That gives me the most joy. Like when you help people, that also brings you joy. When it comes to what kind of money you make, or are you like somebody who actually wants to make money? Like those are all thoughts that will help you in the end to have a better life. And I want to have like this epic life, and I always want to work on this and inspire others, okay? So once I know this is my goal, and I keep on having this cycle of, express where you're at right now, express all the knowledge, all the insight that you've gotten so far, share that. See, and find people who benefit from that. And they won't benefit from it when you're keeping it to yourself. The moment you express it, yes, you will push some people away, but other people will see what you're doing, and you'll get some feedback. And through that feedback, you have new insight that will help you to build a wider system, a better system, that is even, better for you. And, once it's better for you, it can also help others. And so just remembering that, the NITI loop is like this dominant territory loop. And in order to avoid that, we have to make sure that we don't go 1 and then directly 3. We do 1, 2, 3. And then again, 1, 2, 3. And it's like this cycle. And once you really make it a point of saying, well, I have to express myself. I know that naturally, if I don't think about it, I'm just going to try to find a system in it. I'm just going to try to understand it. But I have to make sure that I prioritize my second function over my third function, that I express myself more, because that is where your real strength is at. It's so much stronger than your third function. I'm a very balanced person when it comes to second and third function, but still the second function is much stronger than the third one. And it's like this for all of us, right? And no matter how close you are. And especially if you're only using the third function, you're completely neglecting the second one. Even if they were at the same level, you're not using all your potential. And you're actually getting into depressive moods, you're getting into dependency moods, and so on. You need to access both of them. And the second function is not just about, I'm going to create harmony. It's about expressing what you know so far through an emotional state. Every time you get feedback, you build a new system, and that's how you keep growing and have new insight. I can tell you 5 strategies how you can, have more friends, have more money, be happy, all of those things, but you're not gonna take them. Those are strategies that you just gotta use if you believe that it fits into your system. And in order to widen your system, in order to get to a point where you're mentally open to grow, and like, because those truths, they exist everywhere. It's not like they don't exist. You can pick up those informations that will make your life better, but you're not going to if you don't do that loop, if you don't like avoid that loop and you keep on growing. And you keep pushing out and then getting back. It's so important to apply that second function. And that's the whole thing about the NITI loop. It can make you so unhappy and depressed and all of those things. And the solution is always the second function. Let me know in the comments what you think about this topic, your experiences with the NITI loop. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you want me to help you with your life situation, check out the link on one-on-one coaching in the description. Like always, guys, I wish you a great day and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.